This is the Epilogue Audio Experience.
Hi everyone, you're listening to Brewing Talks. Today is a very special day as the show completes 25 episodes. This is Madhulika, your host for the show. And I remember the time when the first episode went live on the 9th of February this year, with a clear agenda on creating meaningful conversations around marketing, brands, media, and businesses. And what an experience it's been so far. I guess the best part about Brewing Talks is this wonderful and amazing creative conversation that I've had, with different mindsets. And I think that's the beauty of this industry too. Because each one of us, we come up with our own set of observation and experiences. And that's what makes each strategy look so different from one another. How each campaign looks so different from each other. How each one is looking at connecting with its consumer so differently. And, just like how we had such amazing and different topics covered on the show, like creativity in marketing, storytelling approach for brands, how the brands aim to survive this pandemic, crisis management, the changing face of public relation. We also covered a topic on agility in marketing, community-based marketing, and some such very amazing topics. It also calls for the fact that just like these varied topics on the theme of marketing and brands, our consumers are varied too. Our consumers think so differently from one another. They have their own unique way of looking at a brand. Their emotions are different. The style of thinking and perceiving a brand is so different. And so while we say that, marketers are finding it a bit simpler in today's time because of so much of data and information available to them handy for creating marketing strategy. But at the same time, I think it's also getting more and more complicated to understand this ever-evolving consumer. So I think thanks to all those amazing guests that I've had on my show so far, and each one with its colorful perspective on different topics, different subtopics that we've covered on Brewing Talk show. Also, since we're talking about the show is a part of the podcast industry, right? It's a podcast show after all. And I must say that what a wonderful experience I had with the podcast, conducting a podcast show like this. Few years back, we hardly knew how podcast works, right? How to go about conducting a podcast show. But today we know how this industry is emerging and going to grow to the next level. While in other nations and other countries, podcast is a normal day routine to listen to a podcast, right? But in India, it was pretty nascent all this while, and it is now growing, beginning to show its relevance and begin to relate with the listeners in a big way. And I personally, let's say, when I listen to a podcast as well, I listen to it when I'm on the move, when I'm driving, when I'm gymming, for example, or maybe just simply spending some time listening to some good content. And that's, I think, the beauty of podcasts. Like it doesn't bind you in a format. You can just be very fluid in its approach of just listening to conversations or content or any action that happens on a podcast show. And also my beautiful journey with Epilogue Media. It's been amazing to create this kind of meaningful platforms on this particular platform, and the way this whole show is being produced and put together. So coming back to Brewing Talks, because of this 25th episode, we've made this very special for all you listeners today, and hence decided to go as a Q&A session. I would like to start the show with our set of questions that we've selected to be on the show today. So let's start with our first question.
Hi everyone, it's Mahima Bhalotia, and I'm the founder and owner at the Social Pathshala, through which I'm helping the elders of our country become tech savvy. As a marketing enthusiast, I have a lot of questions wavering inside my mind. But there are two which I want to ask today. The first one is, marketing is essentially very much connected to storytelling. marketing was all about storytelling. So, do you think that the essence of storytelling and making the consumers feel personal to the brand is getting lost amidst the social media clutter?
Absolutely, Mahima. I think these are the wonderful two questions that you've asked. So let me start with your first question. As you said, as you introduce yourself, you are also from the world of digital marketing and digital media. So I'm sure you will relate to the fact that, yes, while the new age of social media is making the brands go lost somewhere because of the clutter and the too much of information and content floating around, what is actually going to solve this problem is actually the storytelling approach. Your storytelling is what is going to cut the clutter. Your storytelling and innovation in the style of connecting with your customer is what is going to not make you and your brand go lost, right? And that's exactly how why each marketer today is paying so much of attention to storytelling approach. Rather, I would say that storytelling did exist all these years in its own version. I think because of, in India, the bonding festival between a sibling, brother and a sister is coming up, which is the Raksha Bandhan festival, as they say. But I remember clearly that campaign by Cadbury's, right? Kuch Meetha Ho Jaye, and how beautifully they embedded this relationship movement into the whole style of gifting. Similarly, I think storytelling has always been effective and has always made the consumer, look up to this kind of content and, attract their attention towards you and your brand. Hence, I think the only solution to not get lost in this age of social media is to actually be strong in your storytelling approach. And it's not that the sense of storytelling is getting lost. As I said, somewhere we as marketers are getting confused in the way we should communicate the story or should share that story with the consumers or the audiences. And that's the fact is also the growing mediums, the growing innovation that's taking place rapidly in the area of social media. You have for example, like how we know how brands are somewhere not able to understand how effectively they should be using reels. Reels cannot be used for every purpose. And hence we have to have a sound knowledge as marketers that if I have a strong story to say, if I have a strong story to communicate, how do I do that? What medium works best? What channel works best? What format? And let me emphasize on the word format. What format works best for communicating that story to its end audience? And that's where the selection of the format really would play a major role. Whether you want to showcase your story with the help of a nicely done video, or whether you want to sell your story or share your story with a nice small caption and a single static but yet a very impactful visual. So that's something that obviously would depend on the nature of your story, the nature of your brand, the nature of your product, etc., etc. But yes, the answer would lie in the fact that the sense of storytelling is also about the style of innovation that you can bring about so that you obviously stay afloat and do not get lost in the jungle of this ecosystem.
How can brands ensure to not overwhelm the customers with too many social media advertisements, products, and offers? How can they ensure that the customers do not get fed up or bored of the offerings they have?
Your two questions are kind of linked to each other because it's again going back to the fact of storytelling approach. The more impactful and effective your storytelling is, the chances are you will be able to gain the eyeballs and you will be able to gain the attention of your customers. It is very, very important to be highly innovative today. It's gone are the days of a typical ad that can gain you attention. It cannot. So while being simplistic is very important, while being believing in the philosophy of simple yet impactful works and would always work. But at the same time, it's very important how to stay creative in our approaches, right? How to say things in a simple manner, but at the same time, being cautious of the fact that you will not be able to gain the attention if you are not out there in the style and the approaches you take to communicate your story. So I think it's important to people don't get bored. What happens is people switch off. I mean, people just don't want to ever visit you again as in your. They don't want to see your ads again. They just want to strike off. I don't want to see that ad once again in the future, right? So that's pretty much how it works. So to not make that happen, do not look like an ad. You have to stop looking like an ad. You have to stop communicating like a typical ad. You have to, again, I think this word is coming to the conversation, to the answer again and again, that it is going to be about the innovation and the different style of storytelling approach that you would want to adopt for this. And I hope this answers your queries. So let's get to the next question. I'm going to read out this question, which is sent to me by Abhishek Birajdar from Bangalore. Abhishek is a marketing professional from Bangalore rather. And his question is that today, even after following the basic thumb rules of posting, many organizations fail to have satisfactory social media engagement. Could you please throw some light on the same? Yes, Abhishek, your query is a lot of marketers' query, I'm sure. So what happens when we follow our basic thumb rules for posting and we wonder why is the engagement not increasing? The question lies, I think, to an extent in your question itself, and is that we as marketers and brand custodians get so glued to following the thumbnails and following the ground rules that we somewhere stop being innovative in our approach and stop being creative in our approach. And also, let me give you a very practical situation as an example. Let's say you as an individual are posting something on your personal profile on social media. Just think the way you think while you post something as an individual. Let's say you're on a holiday and you happen to be at a nice beach, right? A beach site, and you take a beautiful picture and you just randomly post an amazing content, which is your current mindset and a very in-moment feeling that you are experiencing. You see the engagement that post generates for you. You know, you have amazing comments by your friends. People like your picture. People love your picture. People at times share your pictures as well. At the same time, you as the same person, while posting it on a brand page, as you being a brand representative, when you put that, imagine that same mindset, how that mindset takes a shift. You suddenly become a bit more conscious about the way you should be doing things. So while, yes, I agree, it is important as a marketer to be cautious and aware about the way the brand positioning is, how the brand tone of voice should be, and just adhere to a few do's and don'ts. But we get so conscious of this fact that we somewhere begin to lose the originality of the reason why and how we should behave on social media. So if you notice and see the successful case study of a lot of brands who have done amazingly well in terms of engagement, not just big numbers in terms of followers, but also the amazing engagement on social, they have done well with the fact that they have not lost the originality. They have not lost the authenticity of looking as real as they can look on social media. And that's the beauty of, that's how a lot of brands are successful in building communities. A lot of brands are successful in, coming out very strongly and connecting with a lot of relatable content. So I hope I'm able to answer this question of yours with the clear conclusion that while sticking to all the basic thumb rules may make you believe that, you can bring up the engagement level to the next level. But the idea is, the answer lies that you've got to let yourself a bit more loose than what you are right now and seem a little more effortless in the way you do things on social. So let's move on to the next question.
Hello, my name is Abhishek Patil. I'm a content writer and a marketer. So my question to you was, how effective is influencer marketing tactic is in the long run, especially in a world where there are thousands of micro-influencers emerging every other day?
So yes, Abhishek, thanks for this wonderful question. How effective is influencer marketing in the long term? Influencer marketing is here to stay. I've had some recent conversation, a very interesting conversation on this topic. It is definitely effective because it comes from just like how we treat public relations, and we say that anything that gets published through a PR route is a very strong way of putting it across the consumer because it's written by a third party, which happens to be the media in that case. Similarly, influencer in this case is your endorser and someone who is actually experiencing your brand, your product, your service, and writing about you, about his or her experience, for you. So influencer marketing is here to stay. Yes, there are a lot of micro influencers which are emerging, and it's going to definitely grow from here. It's not, there's no backward trend here. So it's going to definitely move forward to the next level. And we are going to see a lot more influencers coming up in this field, and on different verticals, on different topics, be it the food, the travel, the lifestyle, and many such areas to look as content. But the fact is that what is going to be, I think, with this new regulations coming up in the area of influencer marketing and content marketing, the clear differentiation between the paid content and the non-paid content, and also the consumers being wary of how they relate to content, long term, this is what is going to define a successful influencer and a not so successful influencer. Correct? So there will be parameters which will be clearly defined to see the success story of how influencer marketing goes to the next level. But I think the answer to this question clearly is that it is effective. What definitely matters is the quality of content that comes from an influencer. And obviously with all these parameters that are now gaining a lot more relevance, how each influencer is able to clearly segregate this and follow and respect what needs to be followed as far as the content regulation goes. So I guess that's really, really crucial to, and I think it's not just an influencer's responsibility, it's also the responsibility of a consumer or a person who's consuming that content to really be very selective in engaging with influencers, and that's how in the future, in the long term, will define the success story of each influencer. Thanks. I think I love this question that came from you because I'm sure a lot of listeners would want to, have an answer to this. So now let's quickly move to the next question, and that's coming from our next listener, which is Namita Garg. Namita Garg from Gurgaon. She's a hotelier and a food safety consultant. Namita's question is, I'm going to read out the question. We have two questions from Namita. How do you see marketing contingency plans evolve in the post-pandemic time? So let me answer this question first. So hi, Namita, it's a very, very good question. And the reason I say this is because the fact is that contingency plan was always an integral part of every marketing strategy that we laid on for the entire year. It's just that it was totally overlooked, and it always remained to be a contingency plan. By this, what I mean is that while it existed somewhere in the back burner, it's now going to be in the forefront very clearly, right? So I think every marketer and every organization has realized the importance of, having a risk management strategy in place, of having a crisis management strategy in place. At the same time, having some dedicated marketing efforts kept aside in the time when it is required the most. And I think the pandemic has clearly been a biggest teacher to teach all the marketers out there the relevance of having a clear marketing contingency plan approach in place. And I think now down the line, as we approach a fresh year coming forward, each one of us is going to be laying a full focused attention to creating a plan that helps us come out of such situations very strongly, and to keep those funds aside, which will be very crucial in such cases, to minimize the risk factor, to minimize damage that could be done to the brands, or to minimize losing out on any customer support, or losing out on any customer base that could arise out of such situations. So yes, the answer is very clearly that I clearly see marketing contingency plans being on the forefront of And rather, we are going to be now more mindful about knowing and laying more focus to the contingency plans way forward. Your second question here is, what should brand relevance mean in a new normal, or should stand for in a new normal? Again, a very relevant question, Namita. Brand relevance attempts to, as we say, it really attempts to measure the influence that the brand has on a customer's buying decision. So if we have to relate this to the new normal, so first of all, I would also like to add the word, rather say something about the new normal. So when I was talking to a lot of marketers and a lot of business owners also, this new normal is going to be a little temporary phenomenon, because what's going to happen is when things begin to go back to its, original days, as we say, a lot of things might go back to the original normal, like the past normal, as they say, right? So while, yes, there will be a lot of new trends that we would have adopted because of this pandemic, which will continue to stay in the long term. The hygiene factor, the safety factor, being a very responsible consumer, as they say. Those things kept aside, I think a lot of things might bring us back to the way we did things in the past as consumers, as brands, as organization. But yes, brand relevance definition has taken a different shape to a large extent. What that means is that what it means in the new, or would mean in the new normal, would be a lot of focus on authenticity, a lot of focus on sustainability, a lot of focus on originality. I think these will go a long way, because it's been a hard learning for a lot of brands during the pandemic to really believe in the fact that when they looked original, when they looked authentic, when they looked credible, when they related to the consumer's way of thinking during this phase, all those brands today have emerged as winners. So down the line, the whole idea is that because the consumers are resonating with these kind of attributes, it's very important for brands to associate themselves with these parameters to stay relevant in the mind of the consumers. So I guess this is very crucial, and I think it's as I say, as I said again, this is a great question, because it's extremely important for organizations and brands to stay relevant, and by staying relevant, it also means to adapt to the changing environment and surroundings and the different consumer mindsets. I'm glad you asked this question, Namita, and I hope this answers your question too. So this pretty much brings up to the end of our Q&A for now, and we have selected a few questions for this episode, and we will look forward to have another round of Q&A session down the line after a few episodes of Brewing Talks. So before I conclude today's episode, I must thank all you listeners who have from time to time given me such wonderful feedback on the show. It is very, very encouraging to see that all of you are a part of the Brewing Talks journey. And I'm in any form, whether it's, I guess every episode, as I say, had different shades and conversation topics to it. And if each one of us, in our own way, be it understanding and going back and thinking, oh, I think I can do this in a different way, it might work. I can be a better marketer by adopting to this style of thinking. If it has helped us to think in that direction, I think I'm proud to say that, we've had a success story so far for Brewing Talk Show. And once again, thanks to all you lovely listeners out there. And I am hoping that all of you will continue to be a part of this journey and make this a perfect marketing concoction.